This is Nathan Stanford Sr. from CodeCraft Hub, helping others learn to code. This is the ColdFusion Simple Blog, Episode 3. If you didn't watch the first 2 episodes, you may want to check the playlist and go back and do that. Okay, so now with Episode 3, we're going to look at the Application.cfc, and we're going to create an index. Let's go ahead and create the index, even though we're not using it just yet. Index.cfm. That's your first page that will be shown when an application is running, but before that, it will come here to the Application.cfc. And I just put a name in here, but what I wanted to show you is if I copy all of this, and then I go to Google, and I do a search for VS Code snippet generator. As you can see, I go there pretty regular when I think of a snippet that I'm using that I would like to be able to reuse. And then I just paste in the snippet over here on the left. And then at the top, you want to give it a description to help you remember. I will just say example, actually let's just say application.cfc YouTube example. And we'll say application. I usually won't type all of that anyway, but I'll type the whole thing just so if I did type longer, it would bring it to this. So then I can, if you're using Atom or Sublime Text, you can get a copy of those snippets, or you can just come here and you can get a copy of the VS Code. Then what you can do is go back to VS Code, go to File, go down to Preferences, go down to Configure User Snippets, click that, and I would normally put most of them in the global. You can put them in other files depending on what kind of file they are. Like if you were writing PHP code, you may want to put it there, or you may want to put ASP because this file might get big, but I happen to like it. This is the one I usually use, but we're going to put one right above it. We're going to put this one above it, and at the end it needs a comma. And there we go. So now I have this in here. I can save it. Now that it's saved, I can close it. And let's just get rid of what's here so we can show what it's doing. I'm hitting save. So now there's nothing here. I'll even close it, reopen it. And so now I can just start typing application. And when you look right here, you can see application YouTube. That is the one we just created. So I click there and it's already got simple blog. Obviously you don't want to put simple blog in there. You'd want to put something like put your name here or leave it empty, or you can do simple blog. So let's make a change to it. Let's actually do that. So what we would normally want is for this to be empty, and we don't know what the database may be for some brand new application. So now we've deleted both of those. So let's copy this again. And let's go back to the snippet generator. Let's click in here, delete everything, and paste this in. Now, there's another thing you can do with this tool. So we know we want to be able to put in a name right here in these double quotes. So what you can look down here, it says to place a placeholder, do Control-I, and it shows an example. And maybe you'll be able to see it better. Let's see here, I'll zoom in a little. I'll do Control-I. And it puts in a placeholder. So what we want is application name, and then here we want to do the same thing, Control-I, except this one we want to change to be 2 because they're not going to be the same, or at least in most applications they're not going to be the same. And then we just simply say database name. Now if I did this right, and if I remember right, all you got to do is come down here and now copy this. We'll go back to VS Code. We will go back to Preferences. We'll go back to Configure User Snippets. And we once again pick the global one. And we see right here is our global one. So let's delete what we have in here. Let's see here. So if I hold down Shift and I push the up arrow, oh, that's not the right one. That's the, maybe I put it inside of, I thought I'd put it in there. Users, I saw when I was leaving, I thought it was in one of these. I'm going to open one of these just to double check. Okay, so it's not in there. So it's got to be in here. So let me scroll down, application. Let me see, let me find you, whoops, let me find YouTube. Okay, so it, well, I don't know if it's case sensitive, but YouTube. Okay, so it was definitely in a different one. I thought I saw when I was closing it. I could go back and look, but let's go here. It's either in the CFC, CFM, or CFML. So I'm going to start with CFML. It's not in CFML. Let's go see if I did it in CFM, and I didn't do it there. If I have to, I'll just put it in again and figure out where it's at later, because I don't want to waste a lot of time. But let's show things that happened to all of us. I don't, oh, because I had it in the CFC because the application.cfc. Okay, not a problem. So what we're going to do now is we're going to delete what's there and paste in. Whoops, I forgot to do that. Paste in and then do a comma, which I believe is right there. Okay, save this. But now we have this 1 and this 2. So you want to see what happens. And if there's any other variable you're going to change on a regular basis, then you might want to highlight and add a template name into those. Add a chance. Anyway, let's save this. Let's close it. Let's close this. Let's go back here. Let's delete it all. Save. We will close this and reopen it. So now it's open. And I have my VS Code set where you see how this one's index and it's not italicized, and this one's, you may not be able to see, it's awful small print, but it's italicized, means if I were to open something else, well, it didn't do it because I don't have, well, let's try. Yeah, see, so the application.cfc went away, and this one will go away when I click here. But if I want it to stack, I can either double click here or I can double click here. If I double click, now it's up, straight up and down. I go to a new one, it adds a whole new tab. So you can look around at your files before making it stay open. Okay, so now we want to generate that application.cfc. And if you're at work, it's great to have a snippet that you can use when you're building the next application, so you can just generate it. So we'll say application, and it says application YouTube. So I can click on it, there it is, and notice where it's highlighted. It's highlighted in the application name, so I can say simple blog, and then hit tab, and it goes to the second location. And I can say simple blog. I think that's what I named it, but let's go find out, because I did this yesterday, and this video's a day later. So I go to localhost, memorize this, localhost 8500 port /CFIDE/administrator/index. So you want to memorize that and get in the habit of having that. I just leave it with the password saved because I'm using this just for demo purposes only. So I go to the data source and we come down here and we say simple blog. Okay. Sometimes I'll put simple blog DB, kind of like this to do DB, and that means database. But of course, if you're saying the data source is equal to something, obviously you're making it equal to the database. So you don't really have to name it DB. So let's close that, and don't forget you can do all kinds of snippets in the snippet generator to help you come up with ideas of things. So we've already got the application set up where an application will last for 30 days. If we start a session, it'll last 60 minutes or an hour. So let's close that. So we now have the index. Now, one thing I've found depending on how many extensions you have, and it looks like I have 8 that need to be updated. I'm just going to tell it to restart and let it restart all those. But I have way too many extensions. As you look at my page, you'll see I've got a lot of extensions in here that are installed. Do you need them all? Probably not, but I like to do it. But the problem with that can be the thing that you can use sometimes when you're not using Snippet is Emmet. If you want to do some research on Emmet, I think it's spelled like that. Let's go find out. Let me open up a browser and we'll say Emmet. Coding. I'll say coding just to find it. Okay, so it's with 1 T. And then what you can do is Emmet installed and using. You can go, let's see, I think I want to go to the example. I'm not used to coming this way, so let's go back one and choose, there's the cheat sheet. Well, let's go to the cheat sheet. So in here, it downloads all these examples. So let's just pick one of them. I zoomed in. So if you see nav greater than UI greater than LI, so let's just go try that one. And I will pull this down so we can try it. Let's see here. Let me delete what I have. Got to make this bigger so we can see. Okay, so if I was trying to do that, I could just simply say nav greater than UI greater than LI, and Emmet's not working for me. But it's because I have so many things installed. I do have .cfm installed as it's supposed to be working as if it was HTML. So just for fun, we'll create another index file, index.html. If I remember right, it does work on that. So then I can say, okay, I want unordered list and I want line item, and then I hit tab and it automatically generates, and it didn't automatically generate it like it should. There again, it could be something to do with my extensions.